Saparmurat Niyazov, the first president of Turkmenistan and the one who declared the country's independence after the collapse of the Soviet Union, had his name forever etched in the country's history. He passed away from a heart attack on December 21, 2006. During his tenure, both before and after independence, discussing drugs in the media was considered taboo. Drug addiction, especially to opium, was rampant. However, his successor, Berdimuhamedow, announced during his election campaign that he would fight against drug trafficking. He succeeded. Now, addiction is almost zero. How did he succeed? In today's video, we will examine one of the most fascinating and successful experiences in combating addiction worldwide, the eradication of addiction in Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan, a country in Central Asia, is Iran's northern neighbor and shares a 744-kilometer border with Afghanistan. In past decades, it faced a high prevalence of opium addiction and other types of drugs. The 1990s. After gaining independence from the Soviet Union, Turkmenistan became a transit route for drugs. Due to weak security, drugs from Afghanistan and Iran flooded into Turkmenistan, turning the country into an international transit hub for drugs to northern countries and Europe. Inside Turkmenistan, addiction also increased significantly because it was both cheap and abundant. According to locals, opium was sold on every street corner in Turkmenistan, just like sunflower seeds. The government of Niyazov at the time adopted a policy of silence and denied the existence of addiction and drug trafficking. Niyazov passed away from a heart attack on December 21, 2006. His successor, Berdimuhamedow, announced during his election campaign that drug trafficking from Afghanistan was creating a major problem for Turkmenistan, and promised to strengthen border protection and toughen legal penalties for drug dealers. With the beginning of Berdimuhamedow's presidency in 2007, the golden age of drug traffickers in Turkmenistan quickly came to an end. Being a doctor himself, he prioritized the health of his people. He declared that he would fulfill his campaign promise and did not hesitate. Although there were only 60 trained officers in the country, Berdimuhamedow established the Independent State Organization for Combating Drugs under his own supervision. All officials of this organization were required to submit their reports directly to him. This was because there was a possibility of security and judicial forces being involved in drug trafficking, and they could hinder decisive action. With this strategy, each and every element of trafficking was purged without any information leakage. He also tightened and expedited the laws. He announced that anyone, even foreign nationals, arrested for drug-related crimes would be sentenced to long-term imprisonment and would not be eligible for amnesty. Border controls were intensified. Berdimuhamedow began serious cooperation with the European Union in the field of combating drugs. The EU provided Turkmenistan with advanced drug detection equipment, trained its security forces, and purchased and deployed drug-sniffing dogs. Simultaneously, Berdimuhamedow fought against financial corruption and bribery in the government, ensuring that no one could pass through the security shield by paying bribes. Authorities also increased efforts to eradicate poppy cultivation within the country and pursued legal action against those who cultivated illegal products. More than 5,000 major drug dealers were prosecuted. The level of border cooperation with Iran and Afghanistan was increased. The program progressed successfully. Every now and then, several tons of drugs were discovered, confiscated, and burned in the presence of Western diplomats. The government tightened drug control laws. Possessing even 1 gram of drugs was equivalent to asset confiscation and long-term imprisonment, 7 to 27 years without the possibility of parole. Even carrying a single codeine pill was declared a crime. Several people, especially truck drivers, were arrested at the border for carrying even a few pills or a small amount of opium for personal use, and their trucks were confiscated. Later, some of them were released through the mediation of their country's officials. But if you talk to them and ask if they would commit such an offense again, the answer is a resounding never. Why? Because Turkmenistan's prisons, according to those who have been incarcerated, are among the most terrifying. Small cells with low ceilings, mostly without windows, lack ventilation, making them cold in winter and hot in summer. Very little and poor quality food, no medical facilities, 300-watt lamps that stay on day and night, making it difficult to sleep. Constant insults from guards and physical punishments in the prison basements, among other issues. And these harsh prison conditions have been and continue to be highly deterrent. So much so that no one even considers going back there.
Benim tramadol geceleri işte beni bas gözüm yine batamın sağ kalamın beyaz sağ kalamın obaydiyan yedeni işlerimi utanıyor.
It should be mentioned that Turkmenistan is a closed country. The internet and media are completely under government control. By supporting and promoting traditional culture, efforts are made to prevent the widespread adoption of Western culture, and to a large extent, they have been successful. As a result of the government's security measures, Turkmenistan is one of the few countries with a very low crime rate. In addition to these harsh punishments, the government has taken other measures, such as cultural education through training, implementing educational programs in schools, universities, and media about the dangers of drugs, using religious leaders to encourage a healthy lifestyle, replacing drugs with sports and culture, building modern sports facilities and encouraging young people to participate in team sports, organizing cultural and artistic festivals as healthy alternatives, mandatory treatment and rehabilitation, government treatment centers for addicts with detox programs that do not use methadone or other substitutes, continuous follow-up of recovered individuals to prevent relapse. Turkmenistan's drug law. The drug law of Turkmenistan, enacted in 2017, is one of the strictest drug control laws in the world. This law defines all aspects of controlling drugs, psychotropic substances, and their precursors. According to this law, a precise definition of prohibited substances includes natural, industrial, drug-containing substances, and even chemical analogs. Cultivation, production, transportation, and illegal use are subject to severe penalties. Voluntary treatment of addicts is only permitted with a doctor's diagnosis. The main objective of this law is to preserve public health and national security in Turkmenistan. Inspired by international conventions, this country has established comprehensive laws to combat drug trafficking. The results of these strict measures are clearly evident. A dramatic reduction in addiction rates. According to reports, Turkmenistan today has one of the lowest drug consumption rates in the world, becoming a model for other countries in the region. Of course, there are also criticisms. Some human rights organizations have criticized Turkmenistan for its excessive harshness, including severe punishments. The sustainability of these methods in the long term remains a question that only time will answer. Currently, Berdimuhamedow's son holds the presidency of Turkmenistan and continues his father's path under his supervision. Although this country has many restrictions on civil and political freedoms, which are beyond the scope of our discussion. In any case, Turkmenistan has shown that strong political will, combined with extensive cultural education, can work miracles. However, it should be noted that each country needs a flexible program tailored to its own social conditions. Turkmenistan has proven that addiction is not an inevitable fate and can be eradicated with proper planning. Here's hoping that your country can also eradicate drugs and addiction one day. Until the next video, goodbye.